What's the last excuse you had that held you back from shooting a short film? Did it sound a little something like this?
You know, I would shoot it, but I just don't have a good crew to shoot with, you know? Yeah, I'd absolutely shoot it, but it has a lot of practical effects in it, and I need a giant industrial barrel of fake blood. You know, I wish I had time to shoot, but I'm just so busy on the weekends.
And now back to the season premiere of House Hunters.
There's the house! Kill it now!
You saved us all, Mr. House Hunter.
It was only part of the job.
I love you, House Hunter.
I love you too.
Sometimes you just don't have time, and that's totally okay, but in reality, you probably have the time. I mean, it is easier to say that your next project is in the works instead of, you know, actually doing it.
Hot take!
Oh, no, I mean, I do it too. I don't usually have hot takes.
Savage!
Oh God. So today we're gonna be talking about consolidation. What you need to do to take that long weekend shoot that's hanging over your head and condense it into something that you can knock out in just one day. We actually just recently shot a short film that only took us like 2 or 3 hours to finish, and we followed this protocol to get that done. So with that, let's get started. So when you're at the beginning of creating your short film, you gotta start with the true bones of a good short, which is a good script. Now, a good script is completely subjective. I mean, it may be good to you, it may be terrible to someone else, doesn't matter, just have fun with it. This isn't much of a screenwriting video, but I will give you a tip on writing a really good bare bones short film. Write for what you have. Don't overextend yourself on extensive props or dreams of a giant budget. A good story doesn't need flash and grandeur to capture an audience. Good characters and a really good story will do the trick. And when you're writing, make sure to keep your script tight. No unnecessary dialogue or filler, just get to the point and tell the story that you set out to make. A page of script equals to about a minute of screen time, and a minute of screen time equals to about an hour of shooting time. So keep that in mind if you really want to get this done in a day. So on to our second phase, finding a location. Location has a huge impact on shooting time. If you have multiple locations, moving from one place to another can really take away precious hours of shooting time from your schedule. If your story can permit, just try to keep it to one location. Once you've got a location in mind, head over to where you plan on shooting and do a quick location scout. For our short, I wanted to shoot in a downtown area and use the practical lights of the businesses in the area to light our film. So I went out and got a few test shots of the area that I had in mind. This gave me a bit of inspiration of the kind of vibe that I wanted for this shoot and gave me an idea of what I had to work with. We found a theater that had some awesome overhanging marquee lights that served our script's vision perfectly on the scouting trip, so I settled on that as our location. So now we have to round up a crew and scrounge up some gear. Now I know you get told all the time that you just need an iPhone to make a movie. Forget about that. You can find a decently priced DSLR or mirrorless under $1,000, and I'll even link you to what I'm talking about in the description below. We actually just got in one of our favorite new pieces of gear, is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. At a cost of $1,300, it's incredibly cheap for the amazing quality of video that it produces. We also used a Rokinon 50mm lens, which costs like $400 conservatively. Now I know for some that is completely out of reach, and some may call me an idiot for even suggesting that that price is affordable. And here's the thing, I completely understand. What I used to do whenever I was on a bare bones budget was make friends with my local filmmaker community. I would make these friends and then borrow their cameras and lenses sometimes. Whenever I acquired gear, they borrowed mine. It's kind of a nice symbiotic relationship that you find there. Whenever you're trying to find a camera for your shoot, try to find something that's really flexible and versatile whenever it comes to the lighting situations that you'll be subjected to on your shoot. The Sony Alpha series and the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema are really good low light cameras, and they're sure to get a good shot no matter how bad the lighting conditions are in your shoot. Now, one of the hardest parts about getting a short film off the ground is definitely trying to find crew and finding actors. If you're on a shoestring budget or a no-string budget, it can be a completely tired ordeal to get people to help you. But when you simplify your crew, it can be a lot easier to get 4 or 5 people on board than it is 10 or 12. When you boil down the crew to absolute necessities, there's 4 things that you need. It's the director, the actors, a DP, and an audio guy. Don't skimp on the audio guy. You definitely can't run audio while running camera, and bad audio will completely ruin your short. I promise. It's the difference between this
Okay then.
and this.
Okay then.
Get some friends to help you out, or get in touch with the filmmaker community that you probably borrowed lenses and cameras from, and see if any of them are willing to help you out. If you keep the crew small, it's going to be a lot easier come shooting day to wrangle them all together. So everything's set up and shoot day has finally arrived. So what's that magic tip that's going to make this thing go quick? Well, you should keep this in mind. When it comes to guerrilla filmmaking, your biggest goal should be getting in and out as fast as possible. This may be because you're shooting in daylight and the daylight will change over the course of the day, or you need to shoot before someone kicks you out of where you're shooting. Now, of course, we're not telling you that you should shoot somewhere that isn't allowed. You should always try to get locations approved before you shoot there. But this is guerrilla filmmaking that I'm talking to you about, and sometimes, you just gotta do stuff on the run. And I won't tell anybody if you shoot somewhere, you keep it secret. To keep yourself on track, get yourself one of these. And it's poorly written, but it's a shot list. Just write down a few simple shots that you need to get to give your short film the coverage it needs. A master shot, a few over the shoulders, and inserts if you need them. When you have that all on a list, you throw the guesswork out the window during shoot times and drastically reduce unused time on set. Lighting can be a huge time suck on set. Moving and maneuvering lights around set can sometimes take up to half the day. That's why I recommend to try to shoot with as many practical lights as possible. Go the old Steven Soderbergh route. Find a spot during your scouting trip that will give you ample cinematic lighting to work with. Creative blocking will also help you out with minimal light setups. Set your actors' positions to work with the lights given to you on location, rather than trying to get them to work for you. In our short, we shot with almost no extra lights, and just used the marquee lighting to get our key, our fill, and our backlight. When you run into a situation where the practicals just aren't doing it, you can try using a bounce to reflect some of that light onto a particular area. Here, we weren't getting adequate light on our subject's chin, so we set up a bounce to get that little bit of extra light to evenly brighten up his face. When that doesn't seem to help, it doesn't hurt to have a little tiny LED in your back bag just in case you need it in a pinch. We use the Aperture ALMX, which is a complete beast when it comes to clutch lighting situations. Throw it in a light stand, clip it into place. The ALMX can probably fit in just about anywhere. One of the many problems that I've run into on set is when strangers just walk up to set and start asking questions. Here's a little industry secret. If anyone comes up to you and asks what you're shooting, just tell them you're shooting a mayonnaise commercial. If they still care after you tell them that, just start staring at them. Deeper and deeper. And soon, your power levels will start to rise and they will cower in fear. Or you can just politely ask them to move along. So hopefully these tips help you get over your filmmaker's block and sort of help you get rid of that short film that's been in the back of your mind for, decades. Remember, there's nothing really better at helping you hone your craft than just getting out there and shooting something. Trial and erroring is one of the quickest ways to find out what works and what doesn't. You may ask, what if the film sucks once I finished it? Who cares? You still created content. I literally could not count the amount of bad shorts that I've made in my life, and it's probably a lot. But those bad shorts gave me time on set that's needed to become a better filmmaker. I'm a huge believer in the 10,000 hours theory. It takes an incredible amount of hands-on work to master your craft. So, it's best to get started now. Go shoot your film now. No, I'm just kidding. They can wait till next weekend.